Today we're going to be talking about the different traps and bait tactics that desperate and ruthless people are going to be using in order to survive. These are things that have been done in real war zones, failed states, and disaster zones, where morality is optional and violence is the currency. First up, the freebie trap, possibly the oldest trick in the book. This trick is simple. Leave a stash of food, gear, gasoline, or various medical supplies out in the open. Maybe even include a sign. This will likely catch the attention of any desperate person within the line of sight. The moment that someone starts digging through this, they get ambushed from behind the cars, bushes, or rooftops. Simple props like a gasoline can filled with water, an ammo box filled with rocks, a medical kit, food, or an old rusty firearm. If it looks too good to be true in a collapse, it probably is. The abandoned vehicle lure. There's a car on the side of the road. The doors are open, supplies are visible, maybe the engine's still warm. It looks like somebody fled in a hurry. Maybe they were chased off, or maybe worse. To the average survivor, it screams jackpot. But what if it wasn't abandoned at all? The moment that the unwitting victim approaches, from a ditch or maybe from a tree line, that's when the ambush closes in. Come to think about it, I think the girls in Zombieland used this exact same tactic to steal the vehicle full of supplies. Fake natural barricades. Imagine a barricade that looks like it was naturally occurring. Maybe a downed tree blocking a roadway, or some abandoned vehicles that are obstructing passage through a corridor. This works far better than an actual roadblock because it appears as though it's a naturally occurring event. This exact scenario was depicted in the movie Children of Men. Because the barricade looks natural and not artificial, people are likely to get much closer to it. But if you see any obstruction on any roadway in a post-disaster world, it could be a trap. Yield immediately. And consider a detour, because the closer you get to that barricade, the greater the chances are that you'll succumb to the ambush. A damsel in distress. She's crying, she's lost, no weapon in sight, and maybe even scantily clad. Every one of your instincts, especially if you're a man, is saying stop and provide assistance. But compassion has a cost. In Vietnam, Liberia, and Syria, this tactic was used to devastating effect. In fact, this is even used in the animal kingdom, where female wolves will be used to bait domesticated dogs into being ambushed by a wolf pack that awaits. The moment you approach, you are no longer in control, and it's already too late. This morality play becomes a kill box. This, of course, was depicted in the movie The Book of Eli. While Denzel is walking through the wasteland, he hears a woman screaming out for help. As he approaches, he senses that it's an ambush. And unlike Denzel, you're likely not going to be able to take on 6 guys melee style. So avoid this trap. The distress signal bait. A flare, a radio SOS, or a voice screaming from help from a rooftop. You think someone's hurt. Maybe it's a child. Maybe a woman. But it's not a person in need. It's a trap for those who still have a conscience. It might not even be a real person. It might just be a speaker that's playing a recording. There's some scenarios that are depicted in films like Full Metal Jacket, where a sniper will intentionally injure someone so that more people need to be sent in to rescue them, people who subsequently get sniped. Be very cautious of these visual or auditory SOS appeals. Impersonation. After the collapse, the badge won't mean what it used to. When institutions fracture, the symbols of order, sirens, uniforms, flashing lights can all be hijacked by the bad guys. Unfortunately, people are trained to obey authority, and in a chaotic situation, that obedience becomes a vulnerability. Imagine you're at home sheltering in place after disaster strikes. Someone shows up that looks like law enforcement. They speak with confidence. They carry radios. They insist that you need to evacuate, and maybe they even insist on searching your home. You comply because that's what you've always done. But what if these aren't officers? What if they're predators in costume? It doesn't take much. A surplus vest, a knockoff badge, a few buzzwords. They're not here to protect. They're here to exploit your compliance. Be very suspicious and trust your gut. The false refuge trap.
Alright, Shalom. I'm the brother Tasiyat, coming back with another video. But before I start off, I would like to give all praises and the highest honor to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Kakodash. I want to give double honor to my elder apostles and teachers of Great Millstone, and peace and salutation to the sincere Akiam across this world, who are spreading this knowledge and truth and sincerity. And shalom to the few sincere brothers and sisters out there who are also listening. And may the election be upon your households. Khan shalom. So I posted this video earlier also on my channel, and I thought, let me make a video about it, because it's actually a pretty good video that shows you some realistic scenarios that can happen when shit hits the fan, when chaos breaks loose, when the government basically is not controlling the situation like that anymore, when it's basically everybody for themselves, So these scenarios that you just saw from a guy named Canadian Prepper are very realistic, and he often makes good videos with good points in it, also concerning news, alternative news that you don't hear on the television, for example, about things that are happening in the world, like war, what's happening between the NATO, EU, Russia, etc. So he has some good videos also. But of course, if he's not following Yahweh Ba'asham Yashai, even a guy like him won't make it. He's always busy with prepping. He's calling himself the Canadian Prepper. But if you don't follow Yahweh Ba'asham Yashai, he won't make it, man. So anyway, what you just saw, man, different scenarios, okay? Like in the book of Eli, for example, the woman that was crying for help, okay? That's also what you're going to see in those times, man. Okay, females crying for help. And it might be real or it might be a trap, like you saw in the book of Eli. But what is a fact is that in that time, the scripture says 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. So they're gonna look for a man as a protection and a hiding place, like the scripture also says. So it might be real, it might be fake. Women will still do that in a situation. So let's read it first here, Isaiah 4:1. And in that day, 7 women, so not literally only 7 women, but 7 is an indefinite number. It could mean 5, it could mean 10, it could mean a 7, it could mean a 20, it could mean a 2, it could mean 1. It's an indefinite number, So a certain amount of women, okay? And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. You see? Saying, so for the woman right now that scream, they don't need no man, they don't need no nigga, this, that, and the third, wait until this time comes, man. Just wait and see if you don't need a man in that time. Who's gonna protect you if you are so-called a single mother with children living in a home, and people come and bust your doors in? How are you gonna protect you and your children, without a man in the house? It says, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. So these females will eat their own food, wear their own clothing. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. So they come under your name, okay? They are your wives now, basically, So like I said, man, these females are gonna look for a spot that is safe with men. And who is gonna be giving that safety in those times? The men of the Lord, the men of Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai, the elect men. Okay, we can read it here in Isaiah 32 verse 2. And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest. So like when you have a storm that is coming, right, you want to find shelter as soon as possible, a big building, big house. That is how a man is going to be in those times for females, man. In those chaotic times, when people getting killed in broad daylight on the street, terrible things are gonna happen. Okay, then a man of Yahweh Ba'asham Yashai, a man of the Lord, is gonna be a hiding place. Okay, just like it says here, as rivers of water in a dry place. Just like how you have a desert, and all of a sudden you see, a big ass river of water. You're gonna be happy, man. You're gonna be like, finally some water to drink and to wash myself with. That is symbolically how the man is gonna be in that time, the Israelite elect man. Okay, as the shadow of a great rock in a very land. Okay, weary land, rocky. Let's say a desert land, all dried out and shit. And then you walking there, thirsty, but also it's way too hot. The sun is out there, you're walking in a scorching heat, and then you see a big ass rock, so you can hide behind the shadow of the rock. That is wonderful, man. So that is how symbolically a man is gonna be in those times for women. You also saw that people are gonna set traps for each other to lure people in and basically take them over and take over their goods and things like you see happening in the series called The Walking Dead, for example. So let me read this here in 2nd Esdras 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. The city is gonna be locked down. You're gonna have militaries, for example, having checkpoints and not letting people in or out. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. So a man, is not gonna have pity or feel sorry for his neighbor. But shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. People are gonna rob each other and destroy each other's houses and bust in each other's houses to find some food and some goods, some clothing, some water and things. Doesn't matter if you are with your family or not. People are gonna be acting crazy in the time, man. When you're hungry, you're gonna act crazy. But who is following Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is gonna have enough food and water in their time. We're gonna read it in a minute, okay? So don't worry. It's for them that don't listen to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And we might, as a man, woman that do listen to the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, also come into some tensed situations in those times to come, but we will be saved out of it. We will have a beautiful way out. These people will be destroyed. These other people. They might die of hunger, or they might be forced to eat their own children and things like that. It says here, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. It's gonna be a lot of troubles and the lack of bread, not enough food to feed people. So let me read this here.